Reptiles have colonized the most inhospitable corners of the planet, such as this burning desert in the middle of Australia. Hundreds of species of lizards and snakes live in this vast habitat. They all have to deal with the same difficulties that would defeat most other animals. They are the only creatures which manage to live in the intense heat with almost no water, and to go for weeks on end without eating. Each of these reptiles is in competition with another. Some of them are cannibals. Resisting the constant pressure of this harsh environment is quite a challenge. In the vast expanse of the Australian desert, reptiles are locked in a silent and merciless combat. In high summer, the drought is at its height. It is getting harder and harder for the 6-foot-long Parenti, the biggest of the Australian monitor lizards, to find prey. The birds have migrated to more hospitable regions. As for the mammals, they seem to have disappeared from the desert. In fact, they are all hiding from the sun in the cool of their burrow or cave. In this barren plain, the drought has brought the salt up to the surface of the soil. The Parenti has to hoist itself up on its legs to avoid the burning crust. By midday, it has become too hot to hunt. It is time to find a shady retreat. Further on, hunger has forced a mulga out of its hiding place. This poisonous snake is nearly 9 feet long. It is one of the most dangerous in the world, for humans and for other reptiles too, including its own species. The mulga is a cannibal. It hunts by night and by day, according to what food is available. And unlike other snakes, it does not wait for its prey to come to it. The mulga follows their trail, hunting them down to their underground hideaways if need be. Nothing moves in the intense midday sun. These cathedrals built by termites are the only sign of animal life. Insects are the reptile's prey, but some of them are not easy victims. This little lizard has not chosen its target wisely. It has entered an ant's nest to feed upon its inhabitants, but now finds itself trapped. These bull ants are among the most aggressive. Attack is their defensive strategy. They have a fearsome weapon, a venom which slowly paralyzes the attacker as it is injected. The ants hang on to their prey with their powerful jaws. They then bend their abdomens with the poisoned sting at the end. All they have to do is sting the lizard between its scales. Once their prey has been put out of action, it is quickly devoured. A brown snake measuring over 7 feet long is near the ant's nest. It is a guadar, whose venom is deadly. This predator is on a different trail. Snakes can detect the faintest smells. Their tongues act like noses. They pick up the chemical particles present in the air or on the ground and transmit them to the mouth. The particles are then analyzed by Jacobson's organ, located under the palate. This enables snakes to detect their enemies and their prey, even when they are hiding at the bottom of their burrows. One bite is not always fatal. The snake has to stop the mouse from running away and inject as much venom into its victim as possible by chewing it. Meanwhile, the mulga, the cannibal snake, still has not found anything to eat. But it has picked up the guadar scent and heads for its burrow. All it has to do now is wait for the brown snake to swallow its mouse. This is when the guadar is most vulnerable. Although the venom makes the mouse's body decompose more quickly, digesting it uses up a lot of energy. The snake cannot move as fast and has to find a cool, safe place to rest. The guadar has sensed a presence. This time, it is a predator, not prey. It needs to find a place to hide. The mulga decides to attack. Trapped at the bottom of its burrow, the guadar cannot escape. Before pouncing on its victim, the mulga takes time to check the surrounding area with its tongue. It is out in the open. Danger could appear at any moment. The tired and vulnerable guadar is powerless against the mulga. Even its venom is useless, since its attacker is immune. But even for a mulga, killing a snake is slower and more difficult than neutralizing a mammal. The animal's thick scales and skin offer protection from its opponent's poisonous bite. In order to prevail, the mulga has to hold on tight and sink its poison fangs several times into its prey. It does not wait for its victim to die before starting to swallow it. Meanwhile, the Parenti has emerged from the shade. It can go without drinking, even at the height of summer, provided it eats freshly slaughtered prey. The water contained in their bodies is enough for it to survive on. There is not a soul about in this salty desert. The monitor lizard is going to have to look elsewhere. It can walk for miles at a time. A little further on, where the cracked earth gives way to red sand, the mulga is heading for its burrow. It needs to hide for a few days while it digests its rather large meal. But its path crosses the Parentis. No Australian reptile can challenge this super predator, the master of the desert. Its tongue is as effective as a snake's for seeking out prey, and nothing escapes its gaze. Before it attacks, the Parenti intimidates its enemy by hissing and inflating its body. The Parenti has severed the mulga's spinal column with a simple snap of its jaws. Like most lizards, the monitor has no venom of its own, but is immune to that of snakes. Scientists are still trying to discover how some reptiles, especially the biggest ones, have developed this resistance to poison. Their survival depends on this defense mechanism. This blue-tongued skink does not have many weapons at its disposal. So it makes itself scarce. Only its thick, hard skin could protect it from attacks by other reptiles. But the rigid corset also restricts its movement. The blue tongue is perfectly adapted to the arid conditions of the Australian desert. It spends a lot of time underground and only comes out to feed on insects and plants. Salicornia grows in the hardest soil. The skink extracts nutrients and salt from it, enabling it to maintain its body's water level. The drought is getting worse. It has not rained for almost a year. Some animals have not emerged from their slumber since the drought began. These water-carrying frogs only come out of their underground hideaway when it rains. They can live off their fat reserves for 5 years or more while they wait for a storm. Their bodies are laden with water and covered with a cocoon of poisonous mucus as a defense against reptiles, which are very partial to these frogs. Australia gets less rainfall than any other continent on the planet. Long dry spells are interspersed with fleeting downpours. The dried up riverbeds suddenly fill with water, while the plains are transformed into marshes. But it only lasts for a few days. This little spiny lizard is a mollusk. Despite its devilish exterior, it is completely harmless. Mollusks only live in this arid region of Australia and are well suited to the desert climate. This puddle is a perfect opportunity to replenish its water reserves. The lizard's skin soaks up water like blotting paper. Tiny capillary tubes then channel the water between its spines into the mollusk's mouth. This system also enables it to soak up raindrops. The onset of winter brings a short period of plenty for herbivores. Australia is the only country in the world where wild dromedaries can still be found. Imported from Africa in the 19th century, the animals live in an environment similar to their original habitat. Their ability to go without water for months on end enables them to survive in this arid desert. They are nomadic creatures, never staying long in the same place, and feeding on many varieties of vegetation, so they do not harm the plant life. In the weeks following rain, seeds, which have been dormant in the soil, sprout and flower, transforming the arid zone into a botanical garden. Very few lizards are herbivores, but the bearded dragon eats anything it can get into its mouth. In the desert, an opportunity to eat is too good to waste. This 2-foot lizard is one of the most common in Australia. At this time of year, when the temperature is falling, it comes out of its burrow only to eat and bask in the sun. The blue-tongued skink is also taking advantage of this temporary bloom. In a few weeks, the desert will have reverted to its usual appearance. But the reptiles will not wait that long. They will soon go into hibernation and will spend 3 months slumbering at the bottom of their burrows. The desert plains slowly lose their reptile inhabitants. They can only stay in the desert for a few hours a day. They need to keep their body temperature around 30 degrees. The temperature outside has fallen to 20. Parenti is one of the first to stop all activity. Its energy needs are in keeping with its large size. And at the beginning of winter, the sun is getting lazy. Whatever the season, reptiles' survival depends on the stability of their internal body temperature. This is why the monitor lizard spends the entire winter in its cave, away from the cold. In a state of hypothermia, a reptile's metabolism starts slowing down. If the cold continues and gets worse, it will eventually die. Unlike mammals, which produce their own heat, snakes and lizards are cold-blooded, using the sun's rays to regulate their internal temperature. In caves, the temperature is stable throughout the year. Now and then, the Parenti will wake from its slumber, but it will not leave its hideaway until spring. For 3 months, it will live off its fat reserves. Reptiles rule the heart of Australia. In Aboriginal mythology, the snake created the land. During the dream time, the rainbow snake traveled the earth. As it passed, it dug the rivers and shaped the mountains. It carved out the landscape of Australia. At the end of its journey, it created man and gave him the earth. This all-powerful snake spirit is still asleep somewhere, but can wake at any moment and cause natural catastrophes. Aboriginal art often traces the journey of an ancestor during the dream time. Several concentric circles represent the sacred places where the divine creatures stopped on their journey. The snake's spirit is represented by the marks he left on the ground. Like their divine ancestors, the Aborigines are a nomadic people deeply attached to protecting their environment and its animal life. Today, they own and manage half of Australia's Northern Territory. Their paintings have often helped them stake their claim to this region. They closely resemble aerial maps. At the beginning of the Australian spring, many reptiles are still asleep underground or in caves. The wallabies are taking advantage of these last few weeks of cooler temperatures. But these furry animals also manage to survive in the summer heat by living off the water contained in plants. This black-headed python has just come out of hibernation. It has not eaten anything for many long weeks, but the wallabies wander right over to it. Most pythons detect their victims through the heat given off by their bodies. It is an infallible way of positioning and catching mammals. But this positioning system is of no use to the black-headed python, as it only hunts reptiles. The snake is still half asleep and will not even try to attack. The wallabies are quicker and more agile. They know they have nothing to fear. The Parenti has left its cave for the first time in 3 months. It needs to bring its temperature up a few degrees before it can start moving again. Meanwhile, a diamond python has come over to the cave. It knows it will find something to eat there. Places like this provide shelter for small rodents, its potential prey. This python is equipped for hunting mammals. Labial dimples along its mouth can pick up variations in temperature to a 30th of a degree. In the cool of the caves, the warm body of a mouse is like a magnet for the hunter. But the python will not proceed any further. It has only just come out of hibernation and is not warmed up enough to be able to digest even a small rodent. After months of fasting, it is time for the Parenti to start hunting again. While it was sleeping, other predators have invaded its territory. Wild cats survive in the most arid parts of Australia. If they eat enough prey, they have no need to drink. The monitor lizard goes back down towards the plain, leaving the coast clear for its competitor. Almost all species of reptile are afraid of cats, even poisonous snakes. But some of them manage to stay out of their claws. The harmless gidgeys owe their survival to the spikes that cover their backs. An agile cat can avoid being bitten by a snake, but it could be wounded if it tried to catch one of these lizards. In this country of few mammals and no large carnivores, wild cats have no real enemies. In regions where they are plentiful, they have become a scourge for reptiles. Most lizards flee in the face of danger, but the bearded dragon remains motionless, a few yards away from the cat. Camouflage is an effective defense system for reptiles. These dragons are just like chameleons. The cat's arrival had interrupted a mating display between two lizards. The males nod their heads to intimidate or seduce females, but they also do it to scare off intruders. A rival has just appeared. If he wants to mate, he will first have to defeat his opponent. Dragons try to intimidate their competitors rather than engaging in genuine combat. They clash and communicate visually above all. When they open their mouths, it is to show off the bright yellow interior as much as it is to bite. The inflated beard is also intended to frighten opponents. Nods of the head must serve several functions, as dragons use them in various situations. One of them is to estimate the exact distance of animals or objects in their field of vision. The intruder has been soundly defeated. He has to move away from the winner. The female looks willing, which means the eggs she is carrying are ready to be fertilized. Meanwhile, the Parenti has gone down onto the plain. The only thing on its mind is finding something to eat. The monitor lizard does not have many enemies its own size, just a few competitors for food. When eagles attack in a group, they can sometimes get the better of it. but the risk is low. The Parenti's survival depends more on food resources than its ability to defeat predators. The cat has still not eaten. It follows the monitor lizard from a safe distance, not to attack it, but to reap the benefits of its hunting skills. But it is no simple matter staying hidden from a Parenti's keen sense of sight and smell, and the cat is in its territory. This colony of termites attracts many reptiles. The insects provide them with large quantities of energy in a compact volume. The primary reason they are the staple food for many lizards. Worker termites are completely blind and cannot escape their predators. Geckos, like this young agama, are strictly nocturnal. They have both dug their burrows at the foot of a termite mound, giving them a plentiful daily supply of food. Aside from remaining hidden, these little lizards do not have any real defenses against larger reptiles. If necessary, the gecko can do without its tail to outwit an attacker. Snakes also visit the termite mounds. This guadar has spotted the agama. Even in the darkness, the lizard has no chance of surviving. Faced with such a rapid opponent, it has no time to escape. There is no need to inject large doses of venom to kill prey this small. The snake simply bites it several times and holds on tight. Snakes always swallow their victims head first to avoid blockages from their legs and scales. Paralyzed by the venom, the lizard dies of suffocation in the guadar's mouth. In order to survive in this arid zone inhabited by reptiles, most animals have developed aggressive behavior patterns, but others seem to be completely defenseless. That is the case for these honey ants. They live in colonies near these acacias, which are also known as mulga trees. These ants are the most harmless species in Australia. They have no venom and live on nothing but plant matter. Their favorite food is the sap or pollen of mulga flowers. The acacias only flower when it rains. During the droughts, the ants cannot find anything to eat. It's at those times that their survival depends on stocking up on food. The ants have to deal with long periods of drought. The workers stay underground near the reservoir ants. These ants, with their swollen abdomens, spend their whole lives hanging from the roof of the chamber. The entire colony's survival depends on the stocks of honey contained in their bellies. There are about 1,000 reservoir ants and several thousand ants to be fed. When they arrive back from their expeditions, the workers inject the honey into these natural containers using valves positioned along their abdomens. A good reservoir ant's belly is the size of a small grape. The ants never move and need their sisters' help to stay alive. The worker ants clean them, look after them, feed them, and stimulate them. In return, they regurgitate the honey and feed the worker ants. Many predators are interested in these delicious insects. The echidna eats practically nothing but ants. Along with the platypus, it is the last survivor of a strange family. They are the only mammals which lay eggs, which they hatch in a pocket under their belly. 10 days later, a single baby emerges from its soft shell and hangs onto its mother's breasts just like any other mammal. Before cats and dogs arrived on the continent of Australia, echidnae had no natural predator. Its spiny coat acts like a suit of armor. It protects the echidna from snake bites and repels attacks from the largest monitor lizards. In this desert region, echidnae are active at night. They do not like the intense heat. Before daybreak, they dig a burrow and rest there until the evening. When the echidna goes to sleep, the reptiles begin to wake up. Mollusks also eat nothing but ants. They can catch 40 of them per minute using their sticky tongues. Their small territories, covering just a few dozen square yards, always contain the spinifex bushes, which provide them with shelter and at least one ant's nest. Sometimes a competitor tries to take over a strategic spot on the ant's path. The confrontation will not turn into a battle. They try to intimidate their opponents by frenetically nodding their heads, trying to get them to submit. To fend off genuine predators, mollusks use the spiny lump on their necks. They lean their heads forward between their legs and display their false heads to the enemy. It makes them very hard to swallow, even for a snake. Only monitor lizards and birds of prey manage to eat these little lizards without ripping themselves to pieces. Mollusks are slow-moving and cannot run away from an enemy. Their spines are their only means of defense. The Parenti has been out of hibernation for 2 days now. It still has not found anything to eat. Smaller monitor lizards can live off insects, but Parentis need larger prey to survive. That is why they cover a broad territory, stretching from the mountainsides down onto the plain. It increases their chances of finding food. Monitor lizards usually hunt on sight, but they can also use their sense of smell to track their prey. Once they have picked up an interesting scent, nothing can stop them. A Parenti is at home on any terrain. Its tongue moves in and out quickly like a snake's. The Parenti uses its tongue to locate animals hiding in their burrows and even reptile eggs, one of its favorite delicacies. If this blue-tongued skink finds itself faced with a Parenti, it does not stand a chance. The monitor lizard would smash its bony shell with a snap of its teeth. Luckily for the skink, the predator has picked up a different scent. One of the factors which have encouraged Parentes to move away from their natural habitat in rocky areas and down onto the plains is the spread of rabbits imported by settlers. When a monitor lizard grabs an animal, it will not let go until its prey is dead. It manages to swallow its victim, whatever its size, either whole or after tearing it to pieces. Monitors are the only lizards able to dilate their gullet and swallow prey like this. It will take 2 or 3 days to digest the rabbit. The Parente now heads for the mountainside. While the Parente was away, a Gould's monitor lizard has moved into its territory. Wisely, it remains motionless. The Parente is a dangerous predator. These moderate-sized monitor lizards have always lived in the sandy areas of Australia, but they no longer control their old territories. Although Parentes originally lived in rocky areas, they have colonized the plains since the spread of the rabbit population. To absorb as much heat as possible, the monitor lizard stretches out perpendicular to the sunlight. But the siesta does not last long. Dingoes usually arrive without warning. Unlike their domesticated cousins, they very rarely bark, but the monitor lizard has keen vision. There is only one way of fending off the danger: outrunning the predator. In this respect, no one can outmatch a Gould's monitor lizard, not even humans, hence its nickname, the racehorse monitor. Not many reptiles can resist an attack from a dingo. These dogs arrived in Australia from Asia 3,500 years ago. They have become some of the biggest predators on the continent. Like wildcats, they are a constant threat for reptiles. A mulga snake has climbed up too, but its purpose is to hunt, not to run away. Birds are still common in the desert in springtime. Some of them, like falcons and eagles, attack the reptiles, but most of them try to avoid the monitor lizards and snakes, which rob their nests. Mulgas mainly hunt at night. Their limited eyesight is just a supplementary tool for tracking prey. They mostly rely on their sense of smell. Scientists are interested in snakes' other senses too. They were once thought to be completely deaf, but recent studies have shed doubt on this hypothesis. The reptiles seem to pick up some sounds. This bird was sitting on its eggs. It took just one bite to kill it. Mulgas inject very large quantities of venom, which explains their reputation as one of the most dangerous snakes in the world. The venoms of almost all Australian snakes have the same effect. They attack nerve cells. Only large reptiles like the mulga can be fatal to humans. It all depends on the quantity of venom injected. This bearded dragon has come out of its burrow to take advantage of the last hours of sunshine. It is about to witness a combat between two warriors. Of the 2,000 Australian species, the whistling spider is one of the most poisonous and the most impressive. It is roughly the size of a hand. Instead of spinning a web, it actively hunts its prey. It will hunt anything it can sink its two hooks into and inject with its lethal venom. A bite from this hunter can kill a dog in 15 minutes. Even the scorpion is not as powerful. It only uses its poison sting as a last resort. Most of the time, a scorpion can overcome its prey with its pincers, but none of that is enough against a whistling spider. The bearded dragon has seen it all. The spider is weakened by its combat and cannot get away. In their daily struggle to survive, these animals have all developed incredible and unexplained powers of resistance. Predators are mysteriously immune to their victim's venom. This is why the bearded dragon doesn't even try to avoid the spider's hooks. The case of the blue-tongued skinks is still a mystery. How can so many of these harmless creatures survive in this desert full of predators? The Australian spring does not last long. In a few weeks, the animals will have to deal with the blazing heat once again. A fortnight has passed. These red-tailed parrots will soon leave the desert for the cooler regions where they spend the summer. This is one of the Parenti's last chances to hunt birds. Monitor lizards have adapted to all habitats: deserts, jungles, mangrove swamps. Their shape enables them to move as easily across sand as in water, over rocks, or at the top of trees. These monitor lizards like bird and reptile eggs, including those of their own species. And to get them, they are ready to defy the laws of gravity. This time, the Parenti is out of luck. It has not found a nest, and the parrots are on the move. Trees also provide a hunting ground for diamond pythons. These snakes move to different habitats according to the season. In summer, they move to the plains, where they build their nests. At the onset of winter, they go and hibernate in rocky areas. And in springtime, the diamond pythons stay in the wooded regions where they mate. Throughout the mating season, diamond pythons eat very little. The males cover large distances looking for females and do not have enough energy to hunt, so they seize any chance to eat that comes their way. Small mammals always take the same path to return to their burrows. The soil becomes impregnated with their smell. It marks out their trail for predators. As soon as it is close enough, the python picks up the warmth emitted by its prey. All it has to do is attack. This rat does not stand a chance. The snake's thin, razor-sharp teeth are bent backwards, giving it a good grip. Its victim is immobilized by its powerful coils. Death is just minutes away. The grip gets tighter as the seconds pass. The rat is not crushed, merely suffocated. The snake uses its entire body during this operation. Thanks to its sense of touch, it can adjust the pressure of each coil according to the rat's movements. As soon as its victim's heart stops beating, the snake relaxes its hold. The python tries to find the head of its prey. If it tried to swallow it the other way round, the rat's legs would stick in its throat, while its fur would stop it moving towards the snake's stomach. These reptiles can swallow animals twice as big as their heads. Their jaws and some of the bones in their heads are very mobile and connected by elastic ligaments, enabling snakes to dilate their mouths dramatically. The python moves towards its prey, moving its jaws alternately. In order for it to be able to go on breathing, its windpipe runs forward a long way. It also has an air reserve in its lung. At this moment, the snake would be unable to react if a predator attacked. It has to finish its meal quickly and find shelter. The python's head is completely dislocated. All it takes is a few shakes and a bit of stretching to put everything back in place. But digesting the meal will take several weeks. During this short spring, the reptiles have had several opportunities to eat and build up fat reserves for the dry period. From now on, birds and mammals will be harder and harder to come by. But the reptiles will survive this shortage of prey. Of all animals, they are by far the best adapted to surviving the desert. Only they are able to save their own energy and use that of the sun. Their very slow metabolism allows them to go for weeks without food, while other animals have to eat on a regular basis. The Perrette is the strongest of all. As well as having the characteristics of a lizard, it also has features typical of snakes and is resistant to venom. The monitor lizard is the super predator in this part of the world. This desert in the heart of Australia has one of the highest concentrations of reptiles in the world. The success of these animals is partly linked to the absence of large carnivorous mammals. Only imported species, like the wild cats and dogs, could eventually pose a threat to some of them. But the Aborigines are careful to control the numbers of these mammal populations. For them, helping the reptiles to survive is a way of protecting their own culture.